There's a magic trick. Just go to Costco and your wallet will automatically disappear. In the midst of soaring prices in 2026, buying in bulk seems like a lifesaver for your budget. But the truth is, sometimes a painful deception. Don't get me wrong, I love Costco, from bargain price batteries to packs of candy. But behavioral economics shows that the cheap price tags on wholesale goods often create a false sense of security. We buy too much, only to watch it rot in the refrigerator. That's the trap of the illusion of value that supermarkets set. Want to shop smart? You must memorize the expert's secret. Only buy what's on the list. Today, we'll expose 10 of the most ridiculously cheap food items at Costco that are burning through your money the most in 2026. Get ready to take notes. Now, let's dive into the first food category, and also the one most likely to cause devastating financial pain. I call this the group. Fresh produce and the nightmare of spoiling before you even get to eat it. You know that feeling, right? Standing at Costco, looking at the shelves of fresh, vibrant, shiny produce under the lights, we think to ourselves, wow, it's so cheap. I'll buy this to eat healthily, it's good for my health, and saves money. But alas, man proposes, supermarket disposes. Fresh produce at Costco has a superpower. It spoils at the speed of light the moment you step through the checkout counter. The first in this series of tragedies is the giant bunches of bananas. At Costco, you can't just buy one or two. They force you to buy large bunches weighing at least 3 pounds, about 1.4 kilograms, regardless of whether they are regular or organic bananas. Looking at the price less than a few dollars for a huge bunch of bananas, who wouldn't be tempted? But Costco bananas are notorious among home cooks for their incredibly bizarre and unpredictable ripening cycle. You buy them today, and they're still green and rock hard. You tell yourself, oh well, they'll ripen in a day or two. Suddenly, the next morning, they've turned yellow. And the day after, boom, they've become a pitch black, rotten mess from the inside, mushy and watery. They completely skip the golden, fragrant stage we expect. And so you fall into a very common psychological trap, the banana bread scam. Because you don't want to throw away the black bananas, you decide to make banana bread to save food. But to make that bread, you have to rush to the supermarket at the end of the street to buy flour, butter, sugar, and eggs, then run the oven, wasting a lot of electricity. In the end, to save a few pennies worth of bananas, you ended up wasting a lot more money and time. What a pathetic situation. Has anyone else ever had to bend over backwards to make banana bread like I did? Please comment and share your experience below. The second item, the culprit of the size in the kitchen, pre-cut large salad bags. This dish is super convenient. The vegetables are washed, cut, and there's even a bag of dressing and toppings inside. It may seem economical, but if we do a little calculation, you'll be shocked. If you calculate the price per gram, these salad packs are extremely overpriced. This is the supermarket's gold mine of profit, exploiting our laziness. Not to mention, being tightly packed in huge plastic bags combined with the high humidity in the refrigerator will create a disaster. You've only eaten 1 or 2 delicious plates at the beginning. By the third day, when you open the fridge, you'll be met with a horrifying sight. The vegetables at the bottom of the bag start to rot, turn brown, and ooze a slimy liquid, accompanied by a foul smell. Mathematically, you pay for 100% of the vegetable pack, but in reality, you only consume 50%, and the other half goes straight into the trash. This means that the actual cost of the salad you eat has doubled. Instead, make an effort to buy a few fresh heads of lettuce from the market, wash and cut them yourself. They last longer and are half the price. If you find these practical mathematical analyses useful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel right now. Your support is the motivation for me to continue exposing other financial scams. Next is a gigantic tray of fresh mushrooms weighing up to 24 ounces, which is nearly 700 grams. Fresh mushrooms are an extremely sensitive and difficult to handle food. They only have a maximum shelf life of 1 week in the refrigerator. Unless you're hosting a hot pot party with 10 people, buying this tray of mushrooms is definitely a mistake. The trap here lies in the supermarket's plastic wrap. When standing at the counter, you look down, and the first layer of mushrooms is always fluffy white, round, and flawless. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. I myself have tasted the bitter fruit when I bought this tray of mushrooms, eagerly peeled off the plastic wrap, and flipped the top layer of mushrooms over. At the bottom of the box, the mushrooms had turned black, with brown spots appearing and a layer of extremely scary green slime oozing out. Many shoppers at Costco even admit that they completely avoid the produce section here because of this superficial appearance. Mushrooms spoil right at the counter without us even knowing. So, a sincere piece of advice from someone who has lost a lot of money foolishly: spare yourself from that green slime, go to the market, and buy a handful of fresh mushrooms to stir fry for a healthy meal. The last item in this group, a symbol of virtual savings at Costco: those large square cartons of fresh milk with a capacity of nearly 4 liters. Looking at the families in American movies struggling to carry these milk jugs to pour for their children, it seems to be filled with a cozy and frugal atmosphere, right? But wake up, everyone. The design of Costco's milk jug looks very square and space efficient. But if your household has only 1 or 2 people, or if you're not a daily milk drinker, then this jug is just a money-burning machine. Fresh milk will spoil very quickly after opening. How many times have you opened the fridge, picked up a bottle of milk, and found it curdled and smelling sour, even though the expiration date on the label is still valid? The feeling of standing in front of the sink, reluctantly pouring nearly a liter of cloudy white milk down the drain, is a type of financial loss that is incredibly silent yet painful. You think you got it at a low price, but in reality, you are paying for the amount of milk you are about to pour down the drain. Just now, we had the 4 golden faces in the realm of waste at the fresh goods counter. But don't rush to leave the screen, because the dry goods that seem to last for a year without spoiling in the next group are actually the ones that subtly and much more insidiously drain your wallet. Let's move on to the second group right now. Hello, everyone. We just passed by the obvious disasters at the fresh produce section. Now, let's move to the vast shelves in the middle of the supermarket. This is where the second group of food items is stored: dried goods and spices, with a warning: the longer you keep them, the more they lose their quality. If in the previous group, food protests by rotting openly, then in this dry food group, the trap is much more sophisticated. They deceive you with a false sense of security. Just buy it. The dry food won't spoil even if you keep it for a year, so don't worry. But from the perspective of food science and culinary knowledge, not spoiling does not mean it is still usable. Let's start with the giant jars of spices. Holding a jar of garlic powder, onion powder, or dried basil weighing from half a kilogram to nearly a kilogram at Costco, it turns out to be cheaper than buying small jars at the supermarket, often 3 or 4 times less expensive. Who wouldn't think they just scored a great deal? But here is the scientific fact. The value of spices lies in their essential oils and aromatic compounds. As soon as you peel off the silver seal and open the lid for the first time, oxygen, light, and especially the humidity in the air will flood in. In a hot and humid climate, this oxidation process occurs incredibly quickly. You once bought a gigantic 18 ounces jar of garlic powder from Costco. After about 3 months, moisture infiltrated, turning the entire smooth layer of powder inside into a sticky mass, clumping together as hard as a rock, and not a single grain would come out even if you turned the jar upside down. Worse, herbs like basil or mint will lose their color, turning gray and losing their characteristic fragrance. What is the result? You are seasoning a tasteless, lifeless powder into the pot of food. You accidentally ruin an expensive, delicious dish, or sadly throw the whole jar of spices into the trash to buy a new one. Where's the savings? All I see is wasted money. The next product is the Kirkland brand dry roasted nuts, weighing a kilogram. Nuts are a great snack, but they contain an extremely high amount of natural fats, lipids. When exposed to air for a long time, these fatty acids will hydrolyze and oxidize, creating a phenomenon commonly referred to as rancidity in folk terms. The seeds will lose their crispiness, develop a strong rancid smell, and have a mildly bitter taste that is very unpleasant. But the bigger trap of these giant jars of nuts lies in a concept called calorie cost from a health perspective. Be honest with me, when there is a small jar of nuts at home, do you eat very sparingly? But when there is a huge jar of nuts placed on the coffee table, the abundance will likely trigger you to eat unconsciously. While watching a movie, you keep grabbing snacks continuously without being able to stop. As a result, you quickly consume thousands of excess calories, leading to weight gain, fat accumulation, and negative impacts on your health. You consume the jar of nuts faster than expected and have to spend money on a new jar, not to mention the cost of losing weight afterward. An invisible, costly loop. If you've ever gained weight because of these Costco nut containers, hit like to let me know I'm not alone. And don't forget to hit subscribe to catch the next consumer science analysis. The last item in this group is a name that is currently extremely hot in the healthcare trend: Kirkland Organic Chia Seeds. Their large bag, nearly 1 kilogram, is priced super well, making anyone on a diet or eating clean want to add it to their cart immediately. However, the peeled sesame seeds are an extremely sensitive and finicky type of nut. If you leave them in a regular kitchen cabinet for more than 3 months, they will spoil and turn extremely bitter, making them very hard to swallow. The only way to preserve them is to stuff this large bag into the refrigerator, but it takes up too much space. Moreover, if you scroll through the review groups of Costco members, you will see many complaints about Kirkland's screening quality for this item. Many people reported that they often bite into hard kernels still in their shells, hidden inside, posing a risk of chipping their teeth. Buying nutritious food to be healthier, but then bringing home the risk of spending millions on a dentist visit is truly a steep price to pay. Do you have any jars of spices or huge bags of seeds lying around unused? Please let me know in the comments. Goodbye to the jars of dry goods that quietly burn money. We will move to an area always filled with mouth-watering aromas and warm lights, but which hides quality tricks that even die-hard Costco fans would have to turn back from. Let's move on to the third group, the fresh bread and ready-to-eat section right here. Okay, now let's head to the area where I believe you can smell the aroma from a mile away, the bakery and prepared foods section. If anyone is a longtime die-hard fan of Costco, they would know that this area used to be the supermarket's pride and joy. But as we move into 2026, cost-cutting measures and recipe changes have turned many must-buy items here into financial flops. It starts with fresh loaves of bread stacked high like mountains. From Italian loaf, ciabatta, to baguettes. Looking at the golden, fragrant crusts, and the price being just a fraction of a handmade bakery, who can resist? But the core issue here is, the shelf life of Costco bread is extremely short, only 1 to 2 days. When you buy these giant bread combos, if you don't finish them on the first day, you'll face a disaster the next morning. The bread will start to dry out and become as hard as a rock, making a clattering sound when you tap it on the table, and when you cut it, crumbs will scatter every place. Worse yet, recently the quality of Costco's ovens has been heavily criticized by the online community due to their erratic performance. Just last week, I bought a rustic Italian loaf, and when I cut it open, the inside was sticky, dense, and doughy like raw dough because it hadn't been baked long enough. What is the result of buying cheap bread in bulk? You can't eat it in time. The bread gets moldy or too hard to chew, so you have to throw the whole loaf into the trash. In fact, the money you waste is even more than going to the bakery at the end of the street to buy a small loaf that is enough for the day. The 9th item on the list is a pair of giant organic orange juice bottles branded Kirkland. There was a time when this was an indispensable item in every family's refrigerator due to its rich, natural flavor. But by 2026, on Costco member groups, a wave of boycotts and 1-star reviews for this product is exploding fiercely. The reason? Costco has quietly changed suppliers or the formula. The orange juice is now so watered down and bland, as if half of it has been mixed with plain water. Even more frightening is its strangely sour taste, which, after just 2 days in the refrigerator, emits a strong foul odor as if the juice has fermented and spoiled. Every time you buy, you are forced to purchase a pair of 2 gigantic bottles with a total volume of nearly 4 liters. Spending money on such a terrible amount of orange juice means you will reluctantly leave it in the deepest corner of the fridge, out of sight, out of mind, until it completely expires and you throw it down the drain. Don't let the organic label in large volume fool you. Avoid this item at all costs. If you have also been a victim of this orange juice bottle or share the same frustration with the recent bakery quality, please hit like and subscribe right away so we can form a group of mindful shoppers. Your support will help this video reach more people, preventing them from falling victim to unnecessary money scams. And the final item on this list is a direct blow to the taste buds and trust of consumers, a box of 6 frozen grilled chicken pies. Many people, including myself, were so enamored with the hot, rich, and creamy Caesar sauce and legendary cheese chicken pie at the food court that we eagerly bought this frozen box to store in the freezer for a cheaper option. But I'm sorry to say, the frozen version and the food court version are two completely different worlds. No matter how perfectly you defrost and microwave it or bake it in an air fryer, the outer crust remains stiff and chewy, like chewing rubber. When you break the bun in half, what catches your eye will be empty spaces. The chicken filling is sparse, dry, bland, and occasionally you will bite into pieces of bacon that are tough and chewy. The psychological trap here is that you buy it out of nostalgia for a delicious taste. But in reality, you receive a defective industrial product. Most people try one, are utterly disappointed, and so the remaining 5 cakes will stay frozen forever in the corner of the freezer until the end of your cleaning. Money lost. Frustration brought upon oneself. Has anyone here ever been disappointed by this frozen chicken pie? Please comment and let me know your experience. So we have identified the 10 types of cheap, fake foods that are quietly draining your wallet at Costco. But identifying them is only half the journey. In the next part, which is also the most important part of the video, I will share with you 3 extremely simple mathematical strategies to apply when shopping at the supermarket, helping you stay alert and never fall into the bulk trap again. Don't miss it. After we have uncovered the 10 traps hidden under the guise of low prices together, the question arises, how can we still enjoy shopping at Costco without becoming victims of hundreds of dollars in bills? To conclude today's video, I want to share with you 3 extremely simple mathematical strategies. This is not just a supermarket tip, but a financial mindset that will help you take control of your wallet in 2026. Rule 1. The ultimate weapon, unit price. When standing in front of a shelf, your eyes will first be drawn to the large black price printed on it. But starting today, I want you to develop a new habit. Look down at the bottom left or right corner of the price tag. There is always a line or a much smaller number there, showing the price broken down per ounce, per gram, or per ml. Wholesale supermarkets often deceive visually by showing you a total number that seems like a great deal. But when you look at that tiny unit price and quickly compare it with prices at regular supermarkets like Aldi or Walmart using your phone, you'll be shocked to realize many bulk items at Costco actually have a higher price per gram than retail items outside. Let the actual numbers speak. Don't be deceived by the size of the packaging. Rule 2. The sacred timeline chart, the 3-week milestone. Before lifting any huge box into the cart, stop for 3 seconds and ask yourself, will my family definitely consume all of this within 3 weeks? Or can this dish be stored in the freezer for more than 3 weeks? If the answer is no, firmly put that item back on the shelf. Consumer science has proven that for an average household, any fresh or dry item that is left unopened for more than 21 days has an 80% risk of spoilage, loss of flavor, or mold. Don't buy food for a distant future when your current needs don't require it. Rule 3. Act immediately. Lock the savings in the freezer. The final strategy requires a bit of discipline. Portion and freeze immediately. If you have decided to buy a large combo because its unit price is really cheap, for example, bread, nuts, or fresh meat, then as soon as you step home, the first thing you need to do is not to throw them into the kitchen cupboard. Take out the zip bags, divide them into portions sufficient for 1 day, label the date, and immediately put them in the freezer. This action is like pressing the freeze button on preservation, preventing the entire process of oxidation, mold, or rancidity. This is the only way for you to truly preserve the savings that Costco promised you. Savings don't come when you swipe your payment card. They come when you consume every last drop of the product. I hope that after going through this list of 10 virtual cheap items with me, you will have a completely different perspective the next time you push your cart into Costco. The essence of smart shopping has never been about trying to buy the most quantity at the cheapest price. It lies in buying the right amount you need and using it efficiently down to the last drop. Don't let those giant boxes set psychological traps and quietly drain our wallets. Now it's your turn to share. How many people are currently in your family? And let's be honest, have you ever had to reluctantly throw away any of the 10 items mentioned into the trash? Leave a comment right below. Share the items you often buy and the size of your family, and I will calculate and analyze with you whether in 2026 you should continue renewing or definitively cancel your Costco membership to save money. I will try to respond to and advise on each of your comments. If you love content that exposes real and straightforward consumer finance like this, give the video a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Before saying goodbye, I would like to make a small note. All the shares and analyses in this video are based on personal experience, market data for 2026, and general reviews from the consumer community. Eating habits, portion sizes, and storage capabilities vary completely from family to family. This video is for reference, entertainment, and sharing experiences only, and it is not intended to undermine or boycott any brand. Thank you all very much for accompanying me for the past 20 minutes. Wishing you all to always be wise consumers. Hello and see you again in the next videos.